What we saying, guys? Exltd here, back with another Dragon Ball FighterZ revisiting fundamentals video, and in this video we'll be covering the command grab. So as always, please like and subscribe, and let's get into it. So in this game, command grabs are no different. You input the command and it gives you a certain type of throw depending on the character, right? So in Goku's case, it's the famous 1-inch punch. Shout out to Bruce Lee. And yes, you cannot block these. That's the whole point of a command grab, right? It's an unblockable. Do you know what I mean? And depending on the one that you do, you can get a follow-up after it, right? You can combo after that. However, they do vary in relation to startup, right? That's roughly around like 26, that's 17 frames, and the EX one is 24. So the whole premise of this is that it is an input move that can be done. You cannot block it. It's an unblockable. You can't tech it either. Even though it's a grab, the universal grab is DR, right? You cannot DR a command grab. So that's command grabs in a nutshell. Knowing how to set up the command grabs are very important. For example, if you look at Android 16, his command grab is 16 frames, right? Obviously a play on his name. And if you just start doing normal block strings into that command grab straight away, you can see that it whiffs. What you want to do is you want to get your opponent in block stun for a little bit. So you see Goku Blue's blocking, right? And then you want to go out of block stun. And as soon as they're out of block stun, you go for the command grab, providing you're within the range. You can't do it from around here because it's going to whiff with the light one, right? And you can see if Goku's in too much block stun, we're not there. But if he's in too much block stun initially, it's not going to work, even if you're right in front of him. You understand what I'm trying to say? The reason why you have command grabs with varying startups is so because it takes longer, they'll be out of block stun by the time you throw them. So it works. But if you want to get your quickest command grab to work, you're going to have to add a slight delay before you get them. Another way for you to set up these kind of command grabs is depending on your character, you can get them in block stun with an IAD, with an air normal. So by the time you land, they'll be out of block stun, and it's like a timed setup in a sense. So every single time I do this setup, the light command grab is going to hit as long as I'm within range because I don't have to think of it. The setup is a simple IAD JM, right? After that, I whiff the JH. So I do JM into JH, right? But the JH is not going to hit. So you get that kind of effect. And you can see how fast Goku Blue goes back to the ground after that, right? Now, by the time I do that, I just input my command grab and it's going to hit him. Because the JH, in this case, that's whiffed. By the time I go to the ground, Gogeta is no longer in block stun. So it's a very good time setup. The good thing about this setup is because you're whiffing the JH after the IAD JM, it looks like you're going to do something. It looks like you're going to attack your opponent, right? Which you can. If you're plus enough, they can't even reflect this. Oh, did it wrong. There. If you're plus enough and you time it correctly, they can't reflect because it's still your turn, right? They can't mash it. You know what I'm saying? It's still your turn. So even if you slightly delay it, they can't mash it because you're still plus. And if they reflect and you go for the command grab, they're going to get grabbed anyway. So this is very good as it disguises your intentions. They're not really sure what they can do here, right? You could just go for another one as well. You could just go for another overhead, many different options that you have here. So you want to be putting things like feints and disguising your intentions with whiffing air normals into command grab to make it harder for your opponent to know what you're going to do. Using an assist is a very useful way of disguising your command grab attempts. Your opponent will see the assist, they'll either try to reflect or they'll block, and you'll probably grab them out of the reflect or get them with a command grab before they block. In that situation, I called my assist way too fast and Brody was in block stun before I could get the command grab off, so it didn't work. With assists like this, you want to do your command grab first and then quickly call the assist afterwards. Your opponent will still see the assist and think that they're going to get in block stun, so they're going to block, and by then you've already thrown them. It's very important to study your opponent and see how they like to play. If they like to mash a lot, then you might not be able to go for your command grabs on the flowchart kind of thing, because they'll just hit you out of it every single time. Right? When your opponent does this, you want to stagger and delay your normals. You want to frame trap them, right? these characters have different things. Goku's 5LL is very good. As you can see, you can delay it quite a bit, and any sort of mash attempt, it will get your opponent out of it. Once you've hit them with this enough times, they won't be able to do anything and they'll be scared. That's when you hit them with the command grab. Another thing that you need to look out for is your opponent trying to jump out of your command grab attempts. When you see that your opponent tries to jump out, it's a good time for you to maybe call an assist to keep them locked down, right? The next thing you can do is, if you have an option that gets them out of the air, you might as well do that. That's when you see people doing things like jumping into DR to catch them because they know they're going to jump. Or if you're like Android 16, you can simply just use your command grab that grabs them out of the sky. It's very important to know when your opponent's tendencies, because if they like to mash, jump, you can all take this as information and you'll know how to deal with them better. The devs seem to have given a lot of characters that have command grabs moves to keep them plus. This is very important for establishing your mind games. By keeping plus, you'll be able to see how your opponent handles plus frames, right? Do they like to mash? Do they like to jump? Do they just like to block? If they block, you throw them, right? If they mash, then you might frame trap them. And then if they like to jump, you might just go for a different read, right? You might reset your pressure, you might call an assist to keep them grounded. But as you can see, all these characters have moves that keep them plus. So it's just a way for you to gather information. Use these plus frames to get a read on your opponent, and then you go from there. One thing players like to do with command grab characters is they know you're going to need to be out of block stun in order for them to get the command grab off, right? So what they do is they stagger their normals, and then they go in for a dash, and before you know it, you've been command grabbed. You have to be aware of this dash, right? It's going to be quite hard, especially if they do their staggers very well, but looking for the dash will help you deal with it. At that moment in time, you can press a button or maybe jump away. If need be, you can level 3. Moves like Janemba's J2H that can be done very close to the ground are very good for punishing command grabs. Other moves that come to mind are Labcoat 21's J2H as well. You've got Vegito's JS, and moves like that you can just net some decent damage after punishing command grabs are very useful. Go into the lab, look at your character and find out what moves they have that can punish command grabs. So moving on to command grabs that have special properties. If you look at Z Broly, you can see that Z Broly's command grab has some armor. Now Tien was actually able to hit Broly and still got grabbed, even though I was out of range. So for example, if I just do 5L into command grab, it whiffs, right? You can see if we do it straight away, it whiffs, but because of the armor, we can delay the command grab, and because the armor will absorb the hit, we still get the throw. Because of this, Broly is very terrifying when it comes to pressure. So due to the fact that Broly has some armor in this case, his command grab is much stronger than others. On the other side of things, Tien has guard point on his command grab. So Tien completely ignores anything that's happening and he just absorbs the hit and throws the opponent. The trick here is to recognize whenever Tien does the pose and then react to it. You can jump out of it. You can backdash from it. And you can level 3. When it comes to Broly's armored command grab, you want to use multiple hits to hit him out of the armor and nullify the attack. Right, you can see that we diffuse the armor by using more than one attack. In situations like this though, Broly's command grab is actually unreactable. So if you have a read, maybe you try and jump, backdash, or do a level 3 like before. But there's one thing you have to know. You need to remember that Broly has an air grab. So if now I know that you're going to try and jump out of my armored command grab, I can just condition you after the jump in and do a TK air grab to get you out of the sky. When it comes to Videl and Vegeta Blue, who have grabs like this, you can see that this move, they start off in the air, right? So a simple jump will nullify this. Right? It's easier to escape than you think, but with the amount of things that Videl can do to keep you grounded, it's very tough for you to try and escape it. Also note that all of her grabs whiff on crouches. This also goes for Vegeta Blue. The devs probably did this to make it easier for us to deal with these kinds of moves, but they're not stupid. They gave us a 6M and moves like this for a reason. Videl can go overhead, and she can also just continue her pressure after this. So eventually when you do stand block, then you get grabbed. I want you guys to remember that the threat of a command grab is usually greater than the command grab itself. Finding out ways to sneak in the command grab once you've conditioned your opponent is the best way to use it. And if you can see that they keep jumping and mashing, just keep frame trapping them over and over and over again. As always, please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.